What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Observant Lineman. I am your Observant Lineman, Uche Nwaneri. Last week, I was sidelined, under the weather, wasn't able to get any content out there, but I am happy to be back, and I'm happy to be giving you guys my perspective and my views on what's going on in the football world. Now, today, we're going to talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars, my team, I bleed teal and black, but right now, the Jaguars are going through a bit of a transition, a bit of a period that just is not showing the Jaguars faithful the kind of determination and the kind of willingness to do what needs to be done in order to win, in order to put your team in a position, to put this franchise in a position to be successful. And why do I bring this up? Well, of course, I bring it up because of Yannick Ngakoue. Yannick Ngakoue has made it known to the Jaguars organization that he is no longer interested in getting a long-term deal with the hometown club. He is now looking for the exit and is looking to continue his career elsewhere. Yannick went on to Twitter this morning and said that he is no longer interested in signing a long-term contract in Jacksonville. Duval, I love you and gave you guys everything I got. I'm thankful for the journey and look forward to continuing my career elsewhere. 91. Now, this has got to be disheartening to the fans out in Duval County, mainly because once again, we have another player of elite level, a guy who is fourth in the NFL in sacks at the defensive end position since he's been in the NFL. A guy who has played the role, much to how many in Jacksonville in the front office have wanted him to play it. He's shown up, he's worked, he hasn't created any kind of ruckus, hasn't created any kind of controversy. Yes, he did hold out for 11 days during training camp, but that is not something that would be considered a distraction, so to speak, for the team going through a training camp period. He showed up to work. He worked his butt off. And what does he get in return from the Jaguars? He gets a franchise tag. Now, obviously, this is not what Yannick was looking for. He did not want to be franchise tagged with the, and I think that tag sits at $19.3 million for the season. But again, that does not provide him with the kind of long-term security that he was hoping to receive from the Jaguars based on his tangible amounts of productivity that he's provided for the franchise. And he's also been a Pro Bowler in 2017 with 12 sacks that year. But this is a guy who has shown that he produces on a consistent basis. He had 9 sacks last season, if I'm not mistaken. And he actually finished the last 9 games averaging 1 sack per game in the last 9 games. I mean, the guy has performed, and the Jaguars have not shown him any kind of commitment towards his future in Jacksonville. And the thing about it for me, as somebody who played 7 years in Jacksonville myself, it just seems like the same old broken record in Jacksonville every so many years. Players who come in, who are drafted by the franchise, who the franchise actually does a good job in picking players who end up becoming top level talent. And when it's time to pay these guys money, they don't pay them. They don't pay these guys the money that they're worth. And so what do these guys do? They leave and go elsewhere and have success. Jalen Ramsey, prime example. And while the Rams didn't make the playoffs, Jalen is absolutely happier in the position he's in right now in LA over what his position was in Jacksonville, the team that drafted him in the first round out of Florida State. The guy is top 3 cornerbacks in the NFL, and Jacksonville could not and would not do what was necessary to keep him in the city. Now, any player who's of that caliber, there's going to be a little bit of baggage that comes along with having those players. That's just what's to be expected. But Jacksonville has shown over the course of 10, 12 years that they just have not been willing to do what's necessary to secure teams, to secure roster players who can help usher you into the next level of success and help keep you there. For me, when I played, it seemed like the same kind of thing. We had players like Mike Peterson. We had players like Maurice Jones-Drew. We had players like Daryl Smith, who were top level talents, who just were not given the extensions that they quite honestly deserved. Daryl Smith is a perfect example of that. Nobody asked what happened to the Baltimore Ravens linebacking core after Ray Lewis retired. Why? Because the Baltimore Ravens went and signed Daryl Smith, and Daryl Smith anchored that linebacker core for the next 5 or 6 years, and was one of the best linebackers in the NFL doing it. Nobody remembered or missed necessarily. I won't say that nobody remembered, because absolutely you remember Ray Lewis, but nobody in Baltimore necessarily missed. There wasn't that void at that middle linebacker spot when Ray Lewis retired because of a guy named Daryl Smith. That guy was brought in from a Jacksonville squad that refused to give him a contract extension. That's just a perfect example of players being left out, hung to dry by the Jaguars when they really do want to stay in Jacksonville. But Jacksonville refuses to cross that line and give guys the kind of money that they do deserve. And those guys will go on to other places and they'll be successful. So this looks like a situation that now the Jaguars will once again be losing out on, as Yannick will likely be out of Jacksonville in the very near future and will continue his career elsewhere, where he will likely go on to see great success and a substantial payday. And the Jaguars will be once again looking in the draft to try and find more players to fill holes and fill needs, because free agents, they're not coming to Jacksonville. When they look at what's going on with the Jacksonville Jaguars, with what happened with Tom Coughlin, when they look at what's going on with the Jaguars and what happened with Jalen Ramsey and now Yannick Ngakoue, Calais Campbell not being picked up on his option, guys just aren't going to come to Jacksonville, because Jacksonville to them is just not one of the franchises in the NFL that you can look at as a free agent and say, hey, these guys are making the right moves. These guys are moving towards getting this franchise to the Super Bowl. You just don't see it. And it's been that way for a while. Don't see how it's going to change based on what we're seeing now. But let me know what you guys think. Leave your comments down below. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. Hit the bell notification so you can get notified each and every time I drop a new video. I am back from being under the weather for the last week, and I am looking forward to dropping more content for all of you out there. I appreciate you for checking out this video, and we will catch you on the next one. Peace.